It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show, in regards to the X-Files CCG, I want to show you how to jump from the basic game to the advanced game, and I'll explain the differences as well. So let's get started, shall we? Now, if you've been playing the basic X-Files CCG game and you're looking to get into the advanced game, I must warn you, it is a different animal altogether. I would recommend that you at least have several games of the basic under your belt before you even think about going into advanced. And if you're smart, you'll read the advanced rule set back to front a few times and maybe make some notations on a piece of paper or a notebook to help you remember what's involved. If you also have a copy of this Scry magazine, this is number 16 from the 90s. If you can get a back issue, or if you already have it, it has a comprehensive guide in there for both the basic and the advanced games. Now, one of the first things I need to show you in regards to the advanced game, if you recall when you play the basic game, you take out any cards that have an X in the top left corner, because they're mainly for the advanced game. This includes the majority of combat cards. Now, you can finagle combat cards into the basic game to add a little spice. I've shown this on previous episodes, but they're mainly meant for the advanced game. Same goes with some of the event cards and bluff cards. They also have that little X in the top left corner. The ones that you pulled out can now be used in the advanced game in conjunction with all the other cards. Again, there is a different rule set. In the advanced game, there is also a cost to a lot of these cards. You will be paying for this cost with either your resource pool or your conspiracy pool. The resource pool is your blue badge with a number. Your conspiracy pool is your red hand with a number. That's where these tokens come into play. These will form the basis of your conspiracy pool and your resource pool. In the basic game, you don't have to use tokens. I have mentioned you can use nickels or dimes or anything like that if you want to use tokens just to keep track of what's going on. When you also get into the advanced game, you are allowed to use the powers involved on the X-File card. This changes the game because it limits and also expands how you can play certain cards, as well as what they do in conjunction with that X-File card. That being said, whereas in a basic game, you can use a deck right out of a deck box and play and have yourself a little bit of a game. This is where constructed decks come in huge. With the advanced game, you are going to be constructing a deck of your X-Files cards down to a T. You really have to put a lot of thought into these decks, more so than a lot of CCGs because of the investigative nature. The cards you choose, such as combat cards, your bluff cards, your adversary cards, and even the 4 starting agents will influence how the game progresses in the advanced mode and where it takes you. You also really have to pay attention to the bureau as well as the hospital. You have to know where your agents are at all time and what's going on with them. You also have to keep into account, as I mentioned a little while ago, about the cost involved with the cards and how it's costing you to take out of your resource and conspiracy pool. I don't have enough time in one episode to go completely through how the game mechanics work, which was why I mentioned to get yourself the Advanced Rules and Procedures Manual. It does come with every X-Files starter deck. You can find them online pretty cheap. And again, the Scry is a big help. Whereas the basic game, you could probably get through a game in an hour and a half. The advanced game is going to take double, if not more of that. There's a lot more investigative aspect of the game to get through. And as well, you're going to be playing an opponent with another heavily constructed deck. And wow. One of the questions I get a lot about in regards to the X-Files game is the advanced game worth it? Now, keep in mind, you can construct decks for the basic game if you want. There's nothing stopping you. The problem with the advanced game, as I mentioned in the earlier part of this episode, is that the time involved with playing that game is momentous. You really have to set aside the better part of an afternoon or so to play around and to be able to get through it. The basic game is for casual players. The advanced game is for nut bars who know the X-Files inside and out and can use that knowledge to their advantage. So be aware of that before you step in to the advanced game. Have a great day, everybody.